Fleetwood away used to bring fear into the hearts of Oxford United fans. Not anymore. Hello everybody and welcome back to another review of this Oxford United season. After what seemed like an eternity of an international break, the U's were finally back in action. It was a long old trip away to Fleetwood Town. And can Oxford United bounce back after that sickening defeat that we had to Port Vale? And the answer is yes, we could, and it was an emphatic victory for Oxford United. As I said at the start, it used to be a horror show when we went away to Fleetwood Town. We couldn't buy a win. We could barely buy a goal there. But that hoodoo has firmly been broken now. And it was a fantastic away win against the Fleetwood Town. Town side who were feeling a little bit sorry for themselves, you have to be say. But that is not Oxford's concern, because it ended Fleetwood Town 0, Oxford United 3. And it was 3 wonderful goals that won the game for Oxford United today. But before we get into all of that, I'm going to run over the team news. Then I'm going to do a review of the game. Then I'm going to give those all important player ratings. And at the end, I'm going to give my final thoughts. I put timestamps down below, so if you want to jump to any part of the video or just to the end, that is absolutely fine. But if you do, the very least you can do is hit that like button, because that helps me out so much. And if you like the content, then think about subscribing as well. And I just want to say, in the past week, my channel has got up to 1,000 subs. Thank you so much to everybody that has subscribed to the channel, everybody that has watched any minute of any one of my videos. I really appreciate it. And I just want to give a shout out to someone that has been commenting on my videos and asked for a shout out. That is Cool Gaming Master James. Thank you very much for all the comments, the many comments that you've left on my videos. And yeah, so I'm not sure if you have a channel or anything, but if you do, go check that out, guys. But thank you very much. I appreciate the support, James. Long may it continue. Let's jump into some team news, and let's start with Oxford United. And there is a lot to unpack here. Multiple changes from the side that had that last-minute defeat to Port Vale. Mainly, obviously, due to injuries, due to suspension. You had Sam Long returning into the right-back spot after a few games out with an injury. Kieran Brown came back into the left-back spot despite having a scare himself on international break, and obviously with Greg Lee being suspended as well. Probably most surprisingly was Jordan Thornley returned to his centre-back role alongside Elliot Moore, which meant the ever-impressive Stefan Negru dropped to the bench. That caused some, I wouldn't say anger, but question marks amongst the Oxford United fans. Thankfully, we don't really need to answer those questions, but it was a bit of a surprise. I guess Man is just going to put it down to rest and rotation. Kyle Edwards starts his first league game for Oxford United on the wide left. You had Stan Mills starting on the right-hand side, who came in for Goodrum, who was also an injury doubt from international duty and had to settle for a place on the bench. So tons of pace from the wide areas for Oxford United. But up top, Manning went for Billy Bodin. Mark Harris obviously suspended, out for 3 games. Gatlin O'Donkor injured, but didn't choose Sonny Perkins up there. Went for Billy Bodin, which is slightly surprising, a little bit strange for me. Didn't matter in the end, but yeah, I'm not too sure why you wouldn't pick a striker. On to Fleetwood Town now, and a lot of changes for the COD Army as well. Scott Brown was fired after the defeat to Charlton, and even at this early stage of the season, that has brought in Lee Johnson, who's taking charge of his first game after he's bouncing around British football after getting sacked from Hibs. Jack Marriott, who was a summer transfer target for Oxford United, put in a number of bids for him that Fleetwood rejected. He started up front with Jaden Stockley, and that for me looks like a pretty dangerous strike force up there. No Sean Rooney, but you do have Danny Mayer in that midfield alongside Josh Vella. Finn Armstrong starts his first game of the season, and Jay Lynch is back in goal for the Fleet. But it's fair to say things have not been going well for Fleetwood this season. They haven't won a game, still haven't won a game, and they were really hoping for that new manager bounce. But as we know, they didn't get it. Let's move on to the game now then. Fleetwood were really the better side for the first 10 minutes of the game. They came out, they tried to force the game, tried to create some chances, tried to put Oxford under a bit of pressure. Oxford a little bit sloppy. Jordan Formley maybe a little bit too pumped up for this one, making a mess of a clearance, given a half chance to Marriott after 3 minutes, but he dragged his shot well wide. But after that early enthusiasm, Oxford kind of got their foot on the ball a bit, started passing it around and just started to ease into the game a little bit. But then on 16 minutes, we burst into life, and it was Stan Mills with his first goal of the season, and it was a beauty. All of Oxford's goals today were fantastic, but it started with a beautiful strike from Stan Mills. Bit of possession from Oxford, and I have to say Fleetwood very standoffish, just almost allowed Oxford to just pass the ball around. It went out for a throw-in, and the ball was worked to Mills, and again Fleetwood just stood off him, and it allowed Mills to just cut inside on his left foot. They almost invited him to shoot. But wow, he did not disappoint. He smashed it into the top corner of the goal, about 20, 25 yards out. Brilliant start for Oxford United, just what we needed, 1-0 up. Until that point, there was really nothing in the game, as I said, but then Oxford did start to get into the ascendancy a bit. A great ball from Kieran Brown, picked out Brannigan on a good run down the left, and it was a good ball in from Brannigan, but it was cleared by Fleetwood. But then from that corner, Kieran Brown actually nearly got a goal himself. It was a really just innocuous ball in, low ball in from Edwards, and Brown just flicked it, really. It was almost like I don't want to say a Cruyff term, but I'm just going to say he flicked a leg at it, and it just bounced very slowly towards the goal, and it was almost like Lynch in goal hadn't reacted to it, and he just had to dive, but the ball did end up hitting the post, and if it would have gone in, it would have been a bit of an embarrassing one for Fleetwood to concede, as much as Brown would have reeled away and celebrated as if it was a worldie. But it was an odd moment in the game, and just sort of summed up how passive Fleetwood were, really. Brown nearly made a mess of things a couple of minutes later with a header, but he did get back and defend solidly. But Fleetwood's slack play continued, and it was just dilly-dallying with the ball at the back, and they just presented Bodin with a really good chance as they just almost kicked the ball straight to him in the penalty area. He was only about 8 or 9 yards out on the left-hand side, but he dragged his shot badly wide. And at that point, I was thinking, why have we not put a striker in there? But I was soon to eat those words. On 25 minutes, Brannigan hit a long shot straight at Lynch, but that was only 2 minutes before Oxford then doubled their lead. And Oxford actually get a goal from a set piece. Is that the first one we've got from a set piece, from a free kick or a corner this season? I know we've had a penalty. Does that really count? I don't know. Let me know down below. But it was a free kick, drifted into the box. Easy header won by Elliot Moore. Bounced back to Billy Bodin on the edge of the box. On the half volley. And Bodin lashes it in with his right foot. Really good finish on his weaker foot there for Billy Bodin. And Oxford deservedly 2-0. And mainly deservedly just because Fleetwood had been almost like asleep. But after that second goal, it did wake Fleetwood up a little bit. Even the crowd themselves, didn't sound like they were too angry at the players or anything like that. It was a lot of apathy around the ground, almost like here we go again kind of feeling. But Fleetwood did improve a little bit after that one. It was a great strike from Robertson on the edge of the box following a Fleetwood corner. Just a minute later, really, it really should have been 2-1. And I thought of all the players who did impress me for Fleetwood, I thought Broom did really well, actually, and he got some space down the right-hand side. They actually worked it well round the corner, and he got in behind. Good cross in. Stockley won the header from about the penalty spot, but the ball crashed against the bar and came out, and then the rebound was put wide as well. There was just time at the end of the first half for another corner for Fleetwood. Again, it fell to Robinson from the edge of the box, and again, a good block this time from Rodriguez to send the ball over the bar. And that took Oxford in at half-time at 2-0 up. Very comfortable performance so far from Oxford United, and one of the things I've talked about in recent weeks, or pretty much for a long time now, is how Oxford are not very clinical. Today they were exceptionally clinical. A touch sloppy at the back at times, but generally they blunted Fleetwood really well. You were kind of expecting Fleetwood to rally a little bit at the start of this second half, but it was a very passive first half from them. Broome, as I said, probably looked the most lively down that right-hand side, and Stockley was always kind of a threat in and around the penalty area. Triple substitution from Johnson at half-time. You definitely saw intent from Fleetwood at the start of the second half. An early shot went over the bar, and then on a half-time, Shaminga got in down the left-hand side, had acres of space to run into, galloped all the way into the box, but his cross was almost just didn't know what to do, and he just smashed it across. It just kind of hit Marriott and went wide. I mean, this is kind of an example of Fleetwood really just were not clinical as accused Oxford of many times in the past. It was certainly there for Fleetwood today. And for that pressure that Fleetwood put on Oxford at the start, Oxford did stand strong, but again, Fleetwood just guilty of getting into good areas and not creating anything of it. Beadle didn't really have a save to make all game. And Oxford, again, just like they did in the first half, started to just take control slowly of the game, pass the ball around, take the sting out of it. Kyle Edwards, I have to say, was causing some real problems down that left-hand side. His pace, whenever he was one-on-one, sometimes it didn't even matter if he was one-on-one. He was just able to just burst forward, get Oxford up the pitch. Just a couple of times I was just, in the back of my mind, it was thinking what Ipswich Town fans said about him, how he's exceptionally quick, very direct, but doesn't have a lot of end product. And there was a couple of times where that was the case. But again, just like with Bodin, I was left with egg on my face because after 60 minutes, Edwards made it 3-0, and take your pick which one was the best one of the goal of the day. But yeah, this one I think gets my vote. It was a great move actually from Oxford United. Mills found Bodin in space in the middle of the park. Bodin got it out to Edwards. He's one-on-one with Broome. He just drives forward, gets inside, gets to the edge of the box and rocketed it into the top corner of the net. Take the net out kind of stuff. It was a blistering strike. The keeper got nowhere near it. Wow. Just wow. The sort of goal you just can't help but be amazed by. Just what we needed at that stage of the game. Completely killed the game off as a contest. Oxford United roaring back to victory, and what a great first league goal for Oxford. That's 2-2 now for Kyle Edwards. The game did peter out, I have to be said, after this one. I don't really think Fleetwood looked like they were going to get a goal. The only real notable chances were Brannigan was played in again after some good football. He got in, but his near post strike, hit the post and went behind. Late on in the game, Shaminga, he got in, played in. Actually, maybe Fleetwood's one of their nicest moves of the game, actually. But they got Shaminga in on the right-hand side of the penalty area, and he smashed an effort against the woodwork. Post was hit a lot in this game. I think 2 efforts on the woodwork by both teams. But as I said, it did peter out. It was played at a snail's pace for the final 20 minutes of the game. Fleetwood knew they were well beaten. Oxford just kept the discipline, didn't want to give away a goal. Could have maybe got a fourth if they really pushed for it, but really just played with the handbrake on. And that is how it ended up at Highbury. An amazing 3-0 win. And without further ado, let's move on to those all-important player ratings. Let's start with James Beadle in goal. Second clean sheet for Oxford United for James Beadle. Solid, comfortable, easy afternoon for him. He gets a 7. Sam Long gets a 7 as well. Nice return to the side for him. Couple of times he was kind of stretched on that side, but especially when Shaminga came on, there was one time in particular. But, you know what you're going to get from Long. Most of the time he's pretty solid. 7 out of 10. Nice return from Brown as well. He gets a 7 as well. I thought he defensively was pretty solid. Broome was a handful in the first half for him. Second half, again, a couple of times Fleetwood did get in down that side, but I thought generally he defended quite well and actually played some good balls going forward as well, and actually obviously nearly scored with that audacious flick. Hard not to give all these back lines good grades, really. Thornley gets a 7 as well. Nice return to the side for him. I thought he was very comfortable alongside Elliot Moore. I mean, the fact that we're angry that Negru wasn't playing shouldn't detract from the fact that Thornley is still a very good defender and adds a lot when he plays to the side as well. And I think you saw that, a very composed performance from Jordan Thornley. And Very good performance from the skipper in there as well. Again, winning the majority of his headers, winning a lot of challenges. Assist for the second goal as well. Good performance from Elliot Moore. He gets a 7 as well. Almost obligatory high grade for Marcus McGuane. Gets an 8. Masterclass in midfield once again. Everything, he barely put a foot wrong in the game. I think he barely put a pass wrong. Just seems to know, just be so comfortable with his role now. And again, the only thing he's missing is just that goals or assists or anything like that, but he's so much more comfortable at bringing the ball out of defence. He's so much more comfortable at trying to make things happen for Oxford United, and you're seeing that. And he's still so strong and so good at shielding the ball in difficult areas, and it's just a calm presence on the pitch. Please get his contract signed. 8 out of 10. Cameron Brannigan gets a 7. I thought he was really solid in there as well. And again, he was unlucky not to score in this game. Made some really good runs down in the channels too. And, genuine, good, hard-working performance from Brannigan. 7 out of 10. Ruben Rodriguez is an enigma, and he gets a 6. And people might question that, but I think that I like the defensive work that he does, and he's always willing to come back and challenge and get stuck in, and he's not lazy. I certainly don't think he's lazy. I think sometimes his decision making is a little bit poor. Like, he'll try and make a Cruyff turn in the wrong area or an elaborate turn in the wrong area and give the ball away like he did today, and I just don't necessarily think he's impacting the game enough at the top end of the pitch. And I have to say, for me, I'm not sure if he deserves his place in the starting 11. I'm not cold on him. I don't mind him, but he needs to improve, certainly from an attacking point of view. And he gets a 6. Jumping forward now to Kyle Edwards, who gets a 9. Of course he gets a 9. He lit up Highbury Stadium today. Every time he got the ball, he was just dynamic, trying to make something happen, driving at defenders, putting them under pressure, getting to the byline, put some great crosses in, and capped it all off with a wonderful strike. What an exciting prospect he looked. I mean, how slow were Oxford last season, and how nice it is to see that injection of pace back in the side. Copy and pace for Stan Mills. He gets a 9 as well. I thought he was exceptional in there today. I thought every time he got the ball, he tried to just run at Fleetwood and put them under pressure. Got this game off the ground for Oxford United, where nothing was happening in the game, and Mills lit the blue touch paper and ignited this performance from Oxford United with a stunning goal himself. And I thought he was equally as good as Edwards, as equally as dynamic, and it looks fantastic that we've got pace on both wings. 9 out of 10 for Stan Mills. Billy Bodin gets an 8. I thought great goal, very well taken, very intelligent footballer, isn't he? Picks up great pockets of space and did his job really well in there today. Question marks about whether he should have been the striker, but he scored a goal and he played really well, so you can't really argue. So Billy Bodin gets an 8. On to the substitutes now. Tyler Goodrum came on after 64 minutes. Didn't really have much to do. Didn't really have much to impact the game. I also think you do underestimate how strong Goodrum is as well. He was holding off some big defenders in around him. They just weren't being able to get the ball off him. But 6 out of 10 for Tyler. Ocean Smith, 6. Nice to see Ocean Smith get some game time. 6 out of 10 for him as well. Again, just copy and paste for a lot of the subs, because the game was pretty much done when he came on. But pretty tidy. Nothing stood out remarkable. 6 out of 10. Same for Finn Stevens as well. Just came on. Just solid, didn't do anything wrong. Both of those, Smith and Stevens, came on after 73 minutes. 6 out of 10 for both of them. Sonny Perkins eventually got on the pitch after 89 minutes. Actually felt sorry for him, but would like to have seen him get more minutes, but didn't really have anything to do, and so can't really give him a grade. And that leaves me to Liam Manning. Well, Liam Manning, he opened himself up to criticism with his team selection today. Oxford are missing some players. Without a doubt, we're missing some players through injury and suspension, but there were some questionable calls. I don't think many people would have not played Negru, and I don't think many people would have put Bodin in the striking role. But he chose to do that, and it paid off. And it paid off. 3 wonderful strikes from Oxford, a goal from Bodin as well, and Jordan Thornley played really solidly at the back. So perfect away performance for Oxford United, and you have to say, good team selection, good tactics. The only thing I would say, I would like to see Sonny Perkins get a little bit more game time in there, but that is really nitpicking. He will get chances as this season rolls on, but Liam Manning gets a 9 out of 10. That brings me to my final thoughts, and let's start with the home side, and that is Fleetwood Town. If there are any Fleetwood Town fans watching this, firstly, thank you very much for getting to this point of the video. I'm fascinated to know what you think about your side. I thought you would be, and again, it's only 6 games into the season, but I thought you'd be a comfortable mid-table side, a very solid side to beat, a very hard side to break down, pretty much like what you were last season. And if things went your way and you could start scoring some goals, you could push the playoffs. But from what I saw today, it's a side that feels very sorry for themselves. They look very passive. Maybe it's like a conflict of styles from what Lee Johnson wanted to bring in, that the players weren't quite used to it, but they just seem to like drift through the game, and other than like 10 minutes at the start of each half, that effort level deflated very quickly, and Lee Johnson's really got to install that confidence above anything else back into that side. And moving on to Oxford United now, and what can you say other than the fact that this was a perfect away performance for Oxford United. It wasn't just a good scoreline, it didn't flatter Oxford, and I thought they played really well as well and scored 3 quality goals. I thought we looked dangerous going forward. I thought we looked solid at the back, competed really well throughout the game. Yes, it wasn't a very good Fleetwood Town side, but we had to go out and beat this not very good at the moment Fleetwood Town side, and we certainly did that. We dusted off that horrible defeat that we had last time out with Port Vale. Everybody just wanted to get back to winning ways, and Oxford United did that emphatically. I can't really fault Liam Manning because his team selection was really good in the end, and also it shows that the squad, although, you know, still that striking role might offer some question marks, we've got so much talent and so much depth in this squad, is you still got the likes of players like Josh Murphy not getting any game time at all. And as we sit at the moment, I'm not sure if this table has been updated, but at the moment, Oxford United back in the automatic promotion spots with 15 points in second place. It's we're win or we lose, aren't we, at the moment? So 5 wins from 7 games, a fantastic return. Enjoy it, Oxford United fans. There's probably not going to be too many more comfortable and I hope there are, but I doubt there'll be many more comfortable and routine and fantastic away wins in the season like this one. Ones where we don't have that much stress, which is a rarity when watching Oxford United. So enjoy it, my fellow Oxford United fans. Please leave your comments down below. I'm enjoying reading these favourable comments. And Fleetwood Town fans, if there's any of you out there as well and you'd like to leave some comments, please do. I'm fascinated to know what your thoughts and how you think you're going to turn this season around. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your Saturday evening or whenever you're watching this video. Appreciate it. I'll be back to do a review of the game against Exeter next weekend. Bye for now.